Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive with us. You know how sometimes you just stumble across a conversation and it like sparks all these interesting thoughts?
Totally.
So we found this English language learning video.
Okay.
And it got us thinking about like village versus city life and even the pros and cons of having a pet.
Wow.
So get ready to kind of go a little deeper than you might expect with this one.
It really is amazing how these like simple conversations can sometimes tap into these like universal desires we all have,
Right.
you know?
Totally.
Like this video starts with a question that I think we've all thought about at one point or another. Do you prefer village or city life?
It's such a classic debate.
It is.
And in this video, they really get into it. They talk about, you know, the peace and quiet of village life,
Sure.
being closer to nature and like that strong sense of community where everyone knows your name.
Right.
But then they also point out that you might not have all the conveniences of a city.
That's the trade-off, right?
Yeah.
Like fewer shops, maybe limited job opportunities. You know, maybe you have to drive further for entertainment.
For sure.
Cities, on the other hand, offer this like fast-paced, diverse environment with tons to do and experience.
Absolutely.
But it comes at a cost, right?
It does.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
What are some of the things they mentioned?
They mentioned things like crowds, pollution, and that feeling of being lost in a sea of people.
Right,
you know? Like I've definitely felt that in big cities. You can be surrounded by people, but feel totally isolated.
It's interesting, you know, sociologists have actually been studying this for decades.
Really?
There's this concept called social capital.
Okay.
Essentially, the networks of relationships and support systems that we build. And while a village might have higher social capital because of those close-knit connections, cities can sometimes lead to a sense of anonymity and loneliness despite being surrounded by people. It's kind of a paradox, isn't it?
It really is.
Makes you think it's not just about like the physical space, but the quality of the connections we make.
Yeah, it makes you think about what kind of environment you thrive in, doesn't it?
It does.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like, are you energized by the constant buzz and like anonymity of a city?
Yeah.
Or do you crave that close community feel?
And there's no one right answer.
No.
Think about some of those, you know, famous villages in Europe, like tucked away in the Alps. They're idyllic, but maybe you'd get restless after a while.
Maybe.
And then you have these cities like Tokyo, teeming with millions of people, but with incredibly safe and efficient systems. So interesting.
It really comes down to like individual preferences.
Totally.
And priorities.
I remember visiting a small village in Italy once.
Oh, wow.
It was stunningly beautiful, peaceful. But I couldn't help but wonder what it would be like to live there year-round.
Yeah.
Would I miss the energy?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Would I miss the diversity of a city?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even within cities, you have these like micro-communities, almost like villages within the urban sprawl.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
It's about finding those pockets that resonate with you.
Right. And speaking of finding those perfect fits, the video then transitions to a conversation about pets.
Okay.
And at first, there's a bit of hesitation.
Oh, yeah. The age-old to pet or not to pet.
Yeah.
That is the question.
It is.
And this video, I think, captures that initial apprehension perfectly.
One of the speakers brings up some very valid concerns, like the responsibility, the potential for messes.
Oh, yeah.
And even allergies or health issues to consider.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, these are all things you need to think about before bringing a pet into your life.
Totally. I've had friends who, like, impulsively adopted puppies.
Oh, yeah.
And then realized it wasn't the right fit for their lifestyle.
Right.
Which can be heartbreaking for everyone.
Totally. And this is where that self-awareness comes back into play.
Right.
It's not just about wanting a pet. It's about honestly assessing whether you can provide, you know, the care, attention, environment that particular animal needs.
Totally.
But thankfully, the speakers in the video don't just dwell on the negative.
Right. They actually move on to all the amazing benefits.
Yes.
You know, they talk about the companionship, unconditional love, how pets can reduce stress, improve your well-being.
There's a ton of research to back that up.
Really?
Studies have shown that interacting with pets can lower blood pressure,
Wow.
reduce anxiety, and even boost
Amazing.
oxytocin,
What's that?
the feel-good hormone.
Oh, wow.
And for people who maybe are struggling with social isolation,
Yeah.
especially in those dense urban environments,
Yeah.
a pet can provide that constant source of comfort
Well,
and connection.
It's almost like they become part of your social network,
It is.
right? Adding to that social capital.
Exactly.
And they also mentioned how having a dog
Yeah,
can motivate you to be more active,
it's true.
get outside more,
Yeah,
and generally be more engaged with the world.
totally. It's that nudge to get out and explore.
Yeah.
Maybe discover a new park in your city you never knew existed.
Right.
Or you end up joining a local dog walking group
I love that.
and make some new friends.
It's those unexpected ripple effects.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally.
And speaking of ripple effects,
Yeah.
this is another thing that struck me in the video,
Uh-huh.
was how they talked about personal growth,
Okay.
especially with language learning.
Right.
Like, even though this was an English lesson,
Yeah.
they were weaving in these bigger life lessons, almost like saying,
Right.
learning a language is about so much more
Uh-huh.
than memorizing words.
What's fascinating is how they connect it to, like, embracing challenges.
Totally.
Pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. They talk about the importance of actually speaking out loud.
Right.
Even if you make mistakes.
Yeah.
And not being afraid to experiment with the language.
They even encourage viewers to record themselves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I imagine that's super intimidating
Right.
for somebody just starting out.
Especially.
But they frame it as a positive challenge, you know,
It is.
like a way to build confidence.
And, that applies to so many areas of life,
Right.
whether you're learning a new skill or taking on a new project at work, navigating a new social situation.
Totally.
There's always that
Yeah.
initial hesitation, that
Yeah.
fear of failure.
Yeah, but like they say, those moments of discomfort are often where the most growth happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like they're saying lean into that awkwardness.
Right.
It's where the magic happens.
Exactly.
I know for me, whenever I've pushed myself outside of my comfort zone, whether it's traveling to a new country or trying like a new hobby,
Right.
it always leads to some of the most rewarding experiences.
It's that willingness to embrace the unknown,
Yeah.
to be a little vulnerable. That opens up like a world of possibilities.
And that kind of brings us to this key theme
Yeah.
that's woven through this whole conversation,
Yeah.
this idea of individual agency.
Oh, I like that.
You know?
Yeah.
It's not just about the choices we make.
Right.
It's that we have the power to choose. Whether it's village life or city life, decided to get a pet,
Yeah.
or even like committing to learning a new language.
Right.
It's about exercising that agency
Yes.
to create a life that reflects who we are and what we value.
It's almost like taking ownership of your own life story,
yeah.
Instead of just letting things happen,
Right.
you're actively shaping your experiences,
Right.
creating a narrative that feels authentic
I love that.
and fulfilling.
It could be a really powerful antidote
You can.
to that feeling of being lost or overwhelmed.
Yes.
That sometimes comes
Let's shrink.
with the complexities of modern life.
Absolutely. Like you're taking back control.
But for some people, that can feel daunting,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
Oh, sure.
Like, where do you even start?
Well, that's where informed decision-making comes in.
Right.
It's about gathering information, weighing the pros and cons like we've been discussing,
Totally.
and ultimately trusting your gut.
Right.
And remember, it's not about making the right choice. It's about making the choice that feels right for you
Right.
in this particular moment
Totally.
with all the information you have.
And that's something that even a casual conversation like this one can help us with.
For sure.
It gets those mental wheels turning,
Totally.
encourages us to look at things
Yeah.
from different angles,
Yeah.
and helps us clarify
Right.
what really matters.
Absolutely. It's like a mental workout,
Wow.
strengthening those decision-making muscles.
I like that.
So if you find yourself feeling stuck
Yeah.
or unsure about a particular choice, don't be afraid to have those conversations,
Right.
even if they seem simple
Yeah.
or unexpected.
Totally. You never know what might come up.
Exactly.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
what's like the one key takeaway
Okay.
you hope our listeners walk away with today?
If I had to pick just one,
Okay.
it would be this. Embrace your power of choice. Your life is a canvas, and you hold the brush.
I love that.
Don't be afraid to explore different colors,
Yeah.
experiment with different strokes, and create something truly unique and meaningful.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And remember, there's no right or wrong path.
Exactly.
Whether you're drawn to the tranquility of a village
Yeah.
or the vibrant energy of a city,
Mm-hmm.
the companionship of a furry friend,
Right.
or the challenge of learning a new language.
Absolutely.
The most important thing is to make choices
Yeah.
that align with your values
Totally.
and bring you a sense of joy
Mm-hmm.
and fulfillment.
And never stop exploring, learning, and evolving.
That's a wrap on this deep dive. We hope you enjoyed the journey
Yes.
as much as we did.
Until next time, keep those minds curious
Yes.
and those conversations flowing.